hopefully it's going to pop up on here anytime you want. Oh, I meant to say as well later, I think Rob and Viv are going to come around for the box. We're going to split the cost of the boxing match.
Oh, yeah.
So if you fancy coming over, we'll probably play
Oh, right, sure, yeah, because I know Mike was up for that as well. So.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you can come as well, yeah. I could probably fit about 6 in this room.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it was like 25 quid or something on Skybox Office, so split between like 5 of us or whatever.
Yeah, so I was going to say, it's nothing than that. Yeah, it all starts at like 5, didn't it? So yeah, it's perfect. Good timing.
Does it start 5? I thought
the
build up, yeah, we're going for
5,
dinner after, but we'll be back well before that.
Yeah, that's it. That's good. No more than.
Okay, cool.
Oh, so play of the week. That Miami play was an absolute touch. Love that. Love that. If we were sitting in the special teams room going, you know what, this sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
That's it. Must have been. I mean, it's Miami, I know, but like, yeah, fair play to them.
Alright, link is the thing. Here we go.
The whole Liam Kumar Day effect, not really happened.
Nigel couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I've recommended all he said he could make it.
Don't think this whole Phil, Predator guy, always managed to do well. He is a shocking person. You guys got a trophy? No. It was pre-bit.
Well, like from Rashad Menden's rule.
Right, you go, cancel. I'm attacked, Jack.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the LOC Report, a Saturday edition of the LOC Report, first of the series.
I think we've done it every day of the week now. We can't. There's not many days of the week we haven't done.
Yeah,
this
no, but we're just keeping the viewers on their toes. That's
ticking it off.
And we have finally reached it. It's the final week of the LOC regular season. But before that, I've got to introduce the co-host, of course. It's Chris Leach.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm really well. That's it. This is a long time. We've been doing 17. It's probably our 17th episode of the year.
Yeah, including the preseason ones. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're a long way through it now.
Mm-hmm.
We're a long way through it. Didn't think we'd get here. Week 14. That's it. Just think about 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. That's it. All those hopes and dreams you had have now been shattered.
Absolutely shattered.
I'm talking about most of you here, not me.
Yeah. We'll see in due course why the episode you will have noticed is this what preseason feels like, and I'll explain that a bit more.
This is going to be like we're going to get to the previews and we're going to be like, yeah, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter.
It's not all set, so there are still some things to check out. But in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty much all done and dusted. But we'll get to all that in due course, because first we'll go to the league news. I literally don't have any news.
I mean, there's not a lot to say, is there, this week?
I went through the transactions, and there was nothing interesting.
It was mostly you and Ollie just
having fun and games.
Yeah, I mean,
some fun and games.
Just trouble everyone on their waivers, because why would you? I mean, this time of the year, everyone else, I think your team's settled mostly. Why would you?
Some people have stopped playing.
Why would you rock the boat? So there's no key transactions, because no one who's actually in the hunt picked up anybody. No,
exactly. That's everyone else.
If you've got your waiver budget, if you want to just this week, if anyone wants to just break the waiver budget just by spending $120 on someone, then
that would be it would have to be someone who's on waivers tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I think there's probably a defense or something.
Please do.
Well, he just added Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, so whatever player he had will be on waivers. So that's your challenge. Go out and
spend your waiver budget.
Spend your money.
So there you go. This is the LOC report Christmas challenge.
Well, let's not forget the Ross Dunn Comedy Award for Comedy. It's
That's
still up
true,
for grabs.
actually.
So if someone could do an absolutely hilarious waiver ad, you may get a nomination. Speaking of nomination, make sure you get those into Ross. I think we said before the end of week 15. So you can only nominate someone else for that award.
Okay.
But then it'll be a straight vote after that. And of course, the actual LOC awards will be not long off either. I will start drawing up next week the nominations for the awards, and we'll reveal those on next week's show.
We've got to start deciding
that. Sneak preview.
whoa.
And we'll announce them properly on the podcast after that or something.
Yeah, it's the Crowbar podcast, because, that's it. At the end of the day on that one, that's the shortest one of the year.
Yeah.
Where we go, congratulations, let's see how you won it.
Yeah, indeed. So, that's it for the news. So we'll go on to our next segment then. Debate Corner.
The Debate Corner, yeah.
Oh, YouTube ads have stitched me right
Oh, no.
How dare you,
I don't care about the Brooklyn
NBA.
Nets.
Here we go. There you go. Debate Corner.
What's on Debate Corner this week? What's on the block?
Yeah, so we've done roster review, we've done waiver review, we've done playoff review, we've done DST and kicker review. This one's quite a big one then.
Yeah.
PPR discussion.
No. Look, every year. No, I say it's every year. It comes around. Every year we're sitting there going in the AGM going, that's it. Should we change anything? And someone goes IDP, and then everyone goes no, and then someone goes PPR, and normally it's your dad. It's PPR, and we go no. Yeah. That's it. The reason why people want PPR now is because all of the fantasy analysts online, you know them, everyone's favourite. Yeah, that's it. Jamie Eisenberg, it's it. CBS, PPR now.
NFL.com is standard. Yeah.
PPR. People can't do their own research. They have to listen to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's it. They have to go, oh, look, PPR. That's it. PPR, garbage, mate. Garbage. That's it.
I agree. It's a silly concept because it's the way fantasy is structured, it's like logical how you get the points. We've discussed this before. You get 10 yards. That makes sense. You get a point. Oh, you get a touchdown. You get 6. Logical. You caught a ball. Great. You get half a point or a point, but you could have lost 10 yards on the same play.
Absolutely. That's it. Absolutely. And also, it values the wrong type of player. It values the pass-catching running back, which, fair enough.
Slot receivers who don't score touchdowns.
Exactly that. So I would have been... maybe as a Christian McCaffrey owner this year, I'd have got way more points, may I say. More points than I already got.
Yeah.
That's it. And there are other people as well, the Saquon Barkley owner. Those guys, they're in a different league.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Similarly, when you're a Michael Thomas type receiver who gets
he's already
12 times and catches 12, that's it. You get an extra 6 or 12 points.
Yeah.
That's it. Plus your yardage, plus your touchdown. Fuck my life. I say, you've got to look at that and go, you're just going to have scoring all over the place.
Yeah.
With players who don't deserve it. The wrong type of people are going to be valued wrongly. That's it. Running backs, which at the moment, that's it, are valued probably highest out of everybody. That's it. Those standard running backs who just,
pound the rock like Derrick Henry, for instance.
Exactly that. Yeah. That's it. They're then brought down.
Yeah.
I grant you that receivers are the sort of bread and butter of the league. And if you're a number 3 receiver that catches three balls and then goes for 50 yards.
A good example is Jarvis Landry when he was at the Dolphins, when he just caught tons of balls, didn't really get any touchdowns. So
I got Darren Waller this year.
He'd be a really good one. That's a good example.
Tight ends as well. They'd be but I think the way you look at it, it just boosts scoring to a point where there's no real skill in picking players.
What was that game where Austin Eckler just randomly caught 17 balls or something ridiculous?
Exactly that. So the reason why this talk has been brought around the last few weeks, is because everything online now has changed. The landscape has changed from standard to PPR, and that I think is the driver of it. Is that people again can't do their own research. They can't look at their own statistics.
My heart has softened to it for that reason because up until we did the Superflex, of course, we were basically in line with every other league out there. We had a few with 6 point passing touchdown, but loads are like that. We give points for yardage and defense, but again, that's not something ridiculous. We were mostly in line. Superflex changes out of line, and now, like you say, it feels like everybody's gone on to PPR, and part of me is thinking like, maybe it's going that way, but I still agree that it's a silly concept, and rightly you say the best players benefit from it. And you might bring a James White into a bit more relevance or something like that. But does that, do we just want to score more points? Because it's all proportionate, right? It doesn't change anything really at the end of the day. So, wasn't much of a debate since we both pretty much agree.
We pretty much agree.
But it always comes up. You never know.
PPR is the fantasy vegan diet. So it'll be here. It'll be here. It was sort of sitting under the radar. Now it's here, and then everyone who's in a PPR league goes, "I'm in a PPR league. It's the best thing ever." Is it though?
I will say that the Reapers Fantasy League is half PPR this year. We didn't actually want it. We told the guy to change it before the draft, and he just didn't. So.
Right. Okay.
But it's not been a complete train wreck. But unless there's a great swell to change it, then like you say, I don't see a reason.
Yeah, the biggest thing for us this year is when you've got a standard Superflex, is that it gives you the ability to score points with any player.
Yeah.
You don't need PPR to improve scoring.
No. Let's go to last week's matchups then, and we'll take a look at the playoff implicating stuff first, shall we? So let's start with the most pivotal game of the playoff picture in week 13, which was Juju Manji, which was Ross's team, against Ixan. Juju Manji faced Ixan in a battle which would secure a playoff place. The winner of this clinched playoffs, but the loser was still at risk of not making it. As it turned out, Ixan won it 79-73, so they stamped their passport to the playoffs. Meanwhile, Ross might have to wait another week. Looking down the lineups for Ixan, the quarterback didn't do him that well with only 11 points, but Derrick Henry made up for it with 21. Davin Cook got 10 as well, and then Todd Gurley having a throwback game with 18. For Ross's team, Matt Ryan did deliver with 21, but only Josh Jacobs and the kicker Brandon McManus with top 10 points after that with 10 and 15 respectively. It was a close score, of course, 79-73. If we look at the history of the games, Ixan all time is 5-3 against the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, we said in the build of this last week that it would be Ben's run game that would win him it, and it turns out that it has. You have to look at it and say, fair play for picking Derrick Henry up at the beginning of the season. Slow burner.
Great drop pick.
But he's coming in.
I'm not even sure he was a slow burner. I'm pretty sure first 5 games he scored a touchdown in every one. He's just been an absolute beast this year.
That's right.
Yeah, you can see that.
But he was extremely touchdown dependent for the first little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, that's it, yeah. He's been able to...
he's coming strong since Tannehill.
Exactly that. He's gone big. I said Dalvin Cook's been, again, very consistent. Gurley is what he is. That's it. When he turns up, he's fantastic. Yeah, but the problem we've said with this team, and I know that we've sort of advocated for this on this pod for a long time, is that he's gone from Phillip Rivers to Jameis Winston. I think Winston gives him a much bigger upside, but he also gives him this.
Yeah,
which is complete and utter volatility.
I think the problem with Winston in this particular week is I think the Bucs are one of those teams that they're just gonna do what they use their strength against the team they're playing that week, the next week. Jags secondary isn't that bad. Jags run defense is the worst in the NFL. They are 32nd, I think, in rushing defense.
And when you can put a guy like Peyton Barber and he absolutely runs all over them,
not to mention the Bucs as well, where they jumped out to a massive lead, so they didn't need to pass. And let's face it, if you've got Jameis Winston and you don't need to pass, you are not going to pass.
No, it's fine. So. But it didn't matter too much, I said the one move I'd like to just highlight is you got Calvin Ridley in there, and Calvin Ridley for a long time now has produced performance after performance which has been nice and consistent. It doesn't have to be great. 9, 8, 9, 10 points a week. That's all you need.
He was top dog in this game as well. Cause this was a Thanksgiving game, so Julio Jones missed the game.
Yeah.
He did well against that.
He's done well. 78 points. We shouldn't overlook that as well. So it's a come down from where Ben has been recently. It's a 15, 20 point come down. But the points were there. Points were there.
For us though, I'd say look, okay, Ben certainly could have had a few more points as well, but for me, we were talking about how for Ross's team it works in their favour a lot of the time. They don't tinker. This was one particular week, I think, where he absolutely should have tinkered a bit, because he started 2 guys in Tevin Coleman and Sony Michel, who they've not been necessarily great options this year. Coleman has a couple of blow-up games every now and then, and you have on the bench Russell Woods against a pretty bad Arizona defense. You have Kareem Hunt, who's come on of late. But most importantly, you had Miles Sanders
against Miami.
Miami.
Yeah, I think when you see two absolutely lock-in matchups there, against Arizona and against Miami, as you say, you're going to take the guy playing Baltimore out. You're going to take the guy playing Houston out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably right. Looking down there, they are bereft of touchdowns.
Only Matt Ryan scoring touchdowns.
That's a bit of a concern this time of the year. Bearing in mind, so you've the likes of Jacobs, Thomas, and Cooper particularly have done well. I think that we'll see later on that has changed a little bit this week, but it didn't go well for him this week, Ross, and it's worrying that they've got those sort of performances in them, if not this week, but going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's 2-game loss slide now we've seen teams like this before, like Viv's team Springs to Mind, where he had that great year and he just fell into the playoffs and washed out straight away. So
Ixan could well be the regular season champion this year.
It's
out of nowhere.
We'll get to that in a second. We'll just mop up what else happened. So with Ross losing, that opened the door for two other playoff hopefuls who had to win out for a chance with Tom's Tyrants and Bedetne. So we'll start with Tom's Tyrants against Bucking the Trend. The playoffs started in week 13 for Tom's Tyrants as they took on Bucking the Trend, needing a win for a chance at the playoffs. They were not able to secure it, with Bucking the Trend getting the upset 100-85. Looking down the lineups, Kirk Cousins makes another start for Bucking the Trend. That was a good one with 21. Melvin Gordon got 11. Devontae Parker absolutely exploded with 28 points, bringing home the victory, and the Saints D had a good 17 as well. On the other side, Sam Darnold, in what was a very plus matchup against Cincinnati, really disappointed, only getting 10 points. Chris Carson got 17, and Alshon Jeffrey got 20, and the Packers have got 11, but it was not enough, and the Tom's Tyrants are now eliminated from playoff contention.
Yep, that's it, absolutely. It's been the story of Tom's year, really, that's it. Yeah. Every time he gets a glimmer of hope, that's it, that just very quickly gets extinguished.
This team's been really good at times, but they have been a bit inconsistent.
Absolutely, and you know why? That's it. When they're good, Chris Godwin's good. Or when Chris Godwin's good, they're good. When Chris Godwin's not so good, they're not so good either. They've been playing QB roulette too much this year, so they just keep gambling, and it doesn't keep working. Last week, Donald worked. This week, it wouldn't have mattered. There are good elements to this, as you say, you'd expect Carson to do well as your sort of bell carrier. Fournette's been really up and down. First bit of the season down, last bit of the season up.
Yeah, he had that great week last week, but outside of that, I'm pretty sure he's only scored touchdowns in 2 games this year.
Since since Foles has come back in, it's not been great for any of the receivers there in Jacksonville. So I'm not going to say luck's not gone his way, but at the same time, that's it. Those guys there, when you've got them on the team, with mid-tier teams in the league, so what you're going to get.
I feel like this game was more about Mike's. Look, okay, 85 points. It's not a great week, but we're seeing it now in the Superflex format. Points have felt like they've dropped a lot.
Yeah,
we spoke at the start of the season. We thought, the goalpost as it should be. It was 100 before. Now it'll be 90. It feels like the goalpost is actually probably more around 80 at this time. If you get 80 or more, you seem to win more often than not.
Maybe, but at the same time, I do think selection's a massive problem.
Yeah.
Across the league.
Yeah, that's made the tricky part.
Is that you can't be shoehorned into
starting a player and then them doing well.
Exactly that. You have to physically go out and go, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in your skill positions. That makes it for me more fun. Because I like that. It's much less down to chance. And just go, you know what, I'm gonna play this guy because I have to.
And there's often a case where, if you take Titans, a great example, where before you could only play one, you might have 2 good Titans on your team, but you can only play 1. Now you can play 2.
Yep, I found that niche. You found that niche.
Yeah.
It's undervaluement of position. That's it. And we've seen guys play 5 receivers at times. That's it. There it's what I would call apart from a tight end, which you could be doing. It's pretty typical. same with Mike. It's funny how people just like go back into their ways.
Yeah.
But he hasn't given up, Mike, this year.
No.
He for a long time he's been going. He's lucky. Gypsy wins.
No, he earned this one.
But
great pickup of Devontae Parker.
But Devontae Parker, great pickup mid-season. It's really boosted him going forward. That is a great stat line. Devontae Parker, by the way, he's been one of those really dark horse receivers.
Really good. After all those years where he'd be taken in drafts, just do nothing and disappoint.
Yeah,
this was finally the year.
He's been the guy.
Yeah,
and fair play also for targeting Melvin Gordon early and taking him.
Yeah,
I think that's also
it's definitely given his team a bit of a boost
massively.
on the back.
So 100 points, first time this year, I think.
Indeed. And then the other playoff hopeful, then Tom's out, but Bedernators still had a chance if they could overcome the Dream Team. Bedernators had a must-win matchup of their own as they faced the Dream Team to stay alive, and once again they could not do it, falling in another narrow game, 76-73. Looking down the lineups for the Dream Team, Carson Wentz came good after his debacle the week before. He got 30 points. Ezekiel got 14, and Joe Mixon got 13 as well, bringing home the win. For the Detonators, Lamar Jackson had a bit of a less subpar day. Still good though, with 24 points.
101 rushing yards is stupid.
Ridiculous. Dede Westbrook got 14 points, and Tyler Boyd, who was a pickup off of a waiver, got 12. But it was not enough as they lost this narrow game, ending their playoff chances. The history of this matchup, the Dream Team is now 9-6 all time against Bedernators.
So this is what I talk about when I talk about Lamar. Look at that, 105 yards and a touchdown. And say any other QB, that is just a dreadful stat line. But it's that extra.
You have to look at the combo yards.
Exactly, you really do. You see, they have 101 rushing yards. That is such a safe floor every week. You've got somebody like that. But look, Ollie's been a bit of a one-man team for the past 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's it. When Lamar does very, very well, he does very, very well.
Yeah.
He's been scoring absurd numbers. We've seen him score 20 points more than that and win weeks for him. It's it. But when you've got a QB scoring 24, yes, Dede Westbrook scored 14, and yes, Tyler Boyd scored 11. But outside of that, is there anything particularly exciting? The answer is, well, not at all.
No.
We said last week that the Eagles versus Miami would be a bit of a shoo-in, but it turns out that it wasn't.
We can't forget about the two Green Bay running backs as well, playing the Giants, combining for less than 10 points.
That's true, and we said it earlier in the year that it would be a bold player. This would propel him up.
It was fine when Adams was out because those guys were both catching tons of balls and getting tons of work. But since Adams has come back, they just haven't needed it. And we'll see on his bench. We can't fault him for starting Lamar over Aaron Rodgers away in the snow. But it would have changed the week. Yeah,
it would have done. But look, it's not to be honest. No. Aaron Rodgers is getting on a transcendent Hall of Fame to be QB.
But he's not been the reliable
exactly
Aaron Rodgers of old.
He's not been Lamar Jackson. It would have been a lauded play this way. Let's put it that way. Whilst with Viv, his team is. I've said as I was doing the power rankings that his team's one of those that I feel a bit underwhelmed by all year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's got a semblance of a running game now. Elliott and Mixon. That's working out. If only it worked out earlier in the year, this might be different for him. But Carson Wentz is one in the week. That is as simple as that. Everyone else in that team is just hasn't done anything. But Carson Wentz, fair play to him, playing that 4 points in the can, picks up a win. And these two teams, they're on the same record now.
And it's quite kind of crazy given where Viv started. I can't remember. I think he started 0-3 maybe. To get back to 6-7, that's quite good going.
There's a lot of teams on 6-7 this year, and we'll see this in the breakdown in a minute. But to say that the Superflex format didn't work out for some people, it's been a great leveler for others.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get to the final playoff relevant game of last week, and then we'll mop up the other two quickly after that. But this one then was a preseason preview, perhaps, of Forge Flyers postseason preview. Forge Flyers versus the Tuckfards. The Tuckfards could have locked up the regular season title with a win against playoff hopeful, or actually almost playoff confirmed, entering this week. Forge Flyers, they could not do it though, and now it's an interesting race for the title because Forge Flyers won this one 120 to 80. Looking down the lineup, Dak Prescott, even though the Cowboys kind of crapped the bed, he had a decent day, still getting 27. Christian McCaffrey was less Christian McCaffrey, like the 10. But it didn't matter because you had Waller getting 10, Shepard getting 10, great stream by the way, Will Lutz getting 14, and the Steelers getting 17. On the other side for the Tuckfards, Patrick Mahomes has returned to the lineup from his bye. He got 22. Saquon Barkley got 12, and Deebo Samuel, which was again a nice play, 12, as well as Keenan Allen, but not a lot else behind there. The history of this matchup, then Forge Flyers are now 9-6 all time against the Tuckfards.
It's strange that it's got a winning record against them, but yeah, I've always said that I like consistent scoring. I felt very, very satisfied by the fact that my team went all bar one player pretty much got into double figures.
Yeah.
And looking at that, going into the playoffs as well.
That's what you want to see.
That's what you want to see right now. And yes, I've moved around some people in the team, but yeah, look, there's a couple of guys, like Waller, so he's got 100 yards with no touchdowns. Evans 53 yards, no touchdowns. You can expect a bit more than that. McCaffrey, no touchdowns on the day. There could have been an awful lot more points in there.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing on the bench this week.
No,
fair enough. So that's not what I want. So I want them all in there.
Well, I was just about to say that the best teams we see in the LSE are the teams that are obviously have a strong starting lineup, but yours has been a bit crippled by injury. It's fair to say, in Horton and Mack. But then you can just plug some other guys in and keep rolling. That's the sign of a good team.
Well, I see Doyle's there. Matt comes back this week. I'm feeling a little bit better about that.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a bit more around. I still like Carlos Hyde on the bench. For what that's worth. On Phil's side, though, the real difference between my team and his was special teams and kicker. That's about as good as it's going to get for that. You look at where my D is in comparison. The Patriots D, it hasn't been that plug and play cheat code.
That never felt like it was going to be a good play either. We criticised Phil for
exactly.
I think he started them against the Ravens. I can't remember.
He did.
Again, he shouldn't have played them against Houston on the road.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's it. And obviously 13 less kicker points as well, which makes a massive difference.
He's showing a loyalty to Brett Maher.
Yes,
for some reason, and this is the problem we always have with Phil. He can have a good team. It's just head scratching decisions. Look, if he changed the defense and kicker, it probably still wouldn't have made the difference, but it would have been a hell of a lot closer.
There's no loyalty in this game. There's no loyalty in fantasy. So you just go with the stats.
Yeah,
and that's what I like to do. So it's a disappointing loss for Phil at this time of the year.
Quite a few losses as well. It's stacking up. But, he was 8-1 at one point, I think.
Yeah.
So it's
it's disappointing. I think that some of the wind has come out of the sails, and obviously some bad matchups this week for him. So I'm expecting a bounce back, but are they the same? Is it I don't know, massively point scoring Tuckfards that we saw earlier in the year. So they just put a ton of points.
They've often been only a few players coming good. So in each week.
It's Mahomes +2.
Yeah, Mahomes +2, and Barkley's not been the same.
No.
I just need to go and let Becky in. So can you just quickly mop up the two completely irrelevant games? I was going to say. Give it over to you.
Thank
while
you.
I go and deal.
Well, that's it. Here we are, folks. This only happens once or twice a year. That's it. You and me. Completely irrelevant, as you say. That's it. Gridiron Gang versus Pakistan. That's it. Absolutely nowhere in Gridiron Gang. That's it. Just trying to avoid the wooden spoon at this point, but it's not going to happen. Versus Pakistan, who trying to salvage a good record and trying to get around those guys on 6 and 7. They were able to do that. No large part down to Josh Allen's performance. Devontae Adams trading for him was probably the best thing they did this year, as it turns out, in the last part of the year. When you've got guys like that who can come in and score 18 points this time of the year, 2 touchdowns, fantastic. Other than that, there's not really a lot to be very excited about. But commendable for Josh Allen this year. He's done very, very well fantasy-wise, and fair play for picking him up. On the other side, there's not a great deal else that's different on their side, except the fact that Drew Brees didn't do it against Atlanta. That's it. That is about as far as I can see. Everything else is very similar. And
can I just point out that timely return? Jared Cook dropped a touchdown.
Yep.
One of the easiest touchdown catches you'll see.
There you go. So have a bit of that. But otherwise, yeah, it's it. Jonathan Williams just hasn't been the same. Or hasn't been the same since his first start. So
you know what? It's annoying. I don't know if you look down. My bench would have won.
We're about to come to that.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think you can't. So I obviously was messaging you before the game because I was on the fence about playing Higbee or not. There was never a doubt in my mind about the other players I started there. Tom Brady. You've been the first proponent of this. Breeze against Atlanta or Brady away.
Houston,
it's a no-brainer. Hopkins as well.
Rashad Penny not playing him.
The guys there. Benny Snell could have been the only one, but it would have been over Higbee, not Williams, because you would have been a fool to see the workload Williams was getting and bench him. So just unfortunate, but
that's it. It just doesn't matter in the grand scale of things. Only a pride-saving win if it was going to be for you. Pat, on the other hand, can go and duke it out the other guys at 6 and 7 now.
Yeah,
so.
Indeed, yeah. And then the final game of last week, then Ben Necessities took on You Are Gold, which is their new name. Oh dear. How was it? Okay. And Ben Necessities actually won.
See that name.
Does he even have Robbie Gold? I thought.
I don't know, but
it's good.
It's not cash free. Oh, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, I think you should keep that one.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, just to quickly mop up this game. So my dad obviously was carrying a 7, maybe even 8 game losing streak into this. I actually finally snapped it with a good week, 116
at last.
to 98. Yeah.
I have to say, Dave's team, it's been one of those teams where it's just been on a terminal slide for the last few weeks. His points for suggest that he should have had a better year than he has.
Yeah.
That's it. That there, fantastic. That is exactly the sort of thing. He's carrying a player. It's a damn shame that it doesn't mean a thing. But I think if you...
Well, You Are Gold's also carrying a player.
Well...
but it's still a great week.
It doesn't matter for... Yeah, You Are Gold. That's it. They for a while they were bumbling around. Nice weeks. That's it. Looking for playoff contention. They've fallen away slightly.
They were really bitten by not changing their team this week. I hate to say it because I know Thanksgiving creeps up, people are busy. Julio Jones didn't play, not help. Falcons against the Saints was never going to go well.
No.
He makes those 2 changes, there's a chance he
Mark
wins.
Andrews has been an absolute stud all year. Why he's not a sure-in fantasy starter for him every single week, I do not know.
Anyway.
Cannot know. Yeah. But Ben Necessities fared fantastic at last. Mm-hmm. Turned a corner, but unfortunately that corner, like in a maze, So we'll go to there's no power rankings as they have fallen back to Tom's burden, and of course he will not write them before the podcast out of protest. So indeed,
we'll just look at the milestone stats and standings. We'll start with the milestones.
I hope you enjoyed my power rankings, by the way.
They were very good. You wrote a lot more.
It was long-winded, don't get me wrong, but I like to write, so
Yeah, that was good.
Well
done. So obviously Phil and Tom were atop the all-time wins, as we could see here. But no one wants to take this single-handedly, it feels like. Maybe in week 14 someone will jump ahead and seize it.
That's it.
But both Phil and Tom lost again, and my dad won for the first time, and as we said, 7 games. So it's a 3-way tie again. Excellent.
Really?
Great. Any other round numbers here? Nothing on the all-time statistics.
But here we go, Nath. Here we go. That's it. It's a shame there's only 1 game left, but I'm back to...
You've got the Eli Manning scenario right
yes.
here. Eli Manning's making his first start since a long time. His career record is 116 to 116.
Oh, I just don't want it, do you? You don't want
He's got 1 game to change that.
100,
good or bad.
That's it, exactly that.
You're the same, Chris. You've got 1 game. Well, actually, no, you're going to have more than 1 game. I shouldn't say that.
Well, that's true. I can still level it up. That's quite nice.
Yes. You could still
so hopefully I don't. Hopefully I have 3 games.
yeah, fingers crossed. So if we look at the standings now then, so if we look at the Southampton division, this one's been locked up for a week or 2 now. Tuckford's 9-4, leading that up with the Dream Team, Pakistan and bucking the trend all on 6 and 7. So there's definitely some final positions to play for. But the consolation brackets do count this year for final finishing positions. Don't forget that. That's all they count for. Portsmouth, Ixan locked up the division last week with their win. They are now also 9-4, 5-game win streak. That's quite impressive. But Detonators and Tom Tyrants, both of the teams with the chance they lost. They're now 6-7 and eliminated. And you will go rounding it out at 5-8 there. And then in the Winchester division, you were 9-4 as well, Crystal, with your win over Phil. And then Ross lost, was at risk of missing the playoffs, but due to those other losses, he is now lost and secured his playoff position. That's a nice place to be. Ben Assessi's 5-8 and Gridiron Gang at 3-10. So we can look at the playoff tab now. So while the playoff teams are confirmed, the standings are not. That any of the Tarkfiles, Ixan and Forge Flyers could be the league winner, regular season winner, if two of them lose and one of them wins.
Yeah.
It's up for grabs. If you win, Chris, it's basically yours because of your point advantage. If you lose, that's where it gets interesting between Phil and Ben, because the point differential, it's about 65 points, but we've seen crazier things.
Yeah.
And then Ross, he's pretty much locked into the he is locked into the wild card at this point. He's not going to leapfrog you, and so Ross is the only certainty in terms of playoff seeding. So we will get to the previews in a bit and check that all out, but we'll go to the breakdown and everything. Chris, you're still at the top there. You've gone over 100 wins on this metric.
Oh, well.
With a game to go, so well done.
That's
and the Phil can also get over 100. He's second there at 99 and 44. Ben is their third, 90 and 53, and like what you were saying just before, my dad, 82 and 61, fourth in this metric. If you look where Ross is, he is sixth, and he is actually sub 500 with his breakdown, is making the playoffs, so it doesn't always fall your way. My dad was actually 11 and 0.
There you go, that's it.
2 weeks after going 0 and 11.
Bounce back.
There you go. Nothing else interesting on that metric. We go to the coach stats. You are still at the top, Chris, which is a good it shows a good coaching performance to make the playoffs. You've not only got the high scoring points as well, could have been even more, but pretty good by the standards of this. Vivers away,
143 over 14 weeks, I'll take that.
It's only 10 a week, and considering we're now in a super flex format, where any points basically count that you could have had.
Yeah.
It's quite impressive. Looking down though, anything else? Ross's team is quite low there, as is Ben's. So these playoff teams perhaps a bit stronger than they look. The Phil isn't too far behind. I obviously had a terrible week last week, 48, but nowhere near as bad as Tom has been on the season. He's now crossed the 300 boundary.
Dear me.
And then we get the true rankings, which other than Ross's team, but to be fair, he is in fifth as all the playoff teams, which is what you would expect. So we will not delay.
See, this is the thing. Like, if your dad's team was in a different division, it would have been a very different year for him.
Perhaps.
Very, very different year. I think that it's just that is unfortunately the byproduct of being with Ross' team, and my team.
Yeah, sure. Okay then. So we will go to the previews, and we'll start with the playoff teams. Because, as we said, there are still things up for grabs in terms of playoff seeding and title winners. So we'll start with this game, Chris. Forge Flyers against Jujumanji, division rivals. Here we go. Forge Flyers take on Jujumanji in a playoff preview game. I didn't mean to stop that by a while. In a playoff preview game, as these two could be facing each other perhaps straight after this week. Because Chris, if you do win, you will get the 1 seed, and if Ross is tied into the wild card, so you are playing to basically play Ross again.
Okay.
And the projections, the scores right now, we've had the Thursday night game is 20-14 in favour of you. You had Dak Prescott play, he got 20, and Amari Cooper got 14 for Ross. Projections do currently favour Ross's team at 97-87. Looking at the history of the matchup, Let's take a look here. Forge Flyers all time against Ross's team are 5-3, so slightly positive.
Oh, slightly positive.
Yeah,
oh,
slightly
nice.
positive. Any injury news? Josh Jacobs dealing with a fractured shoulder, but he's playing through that. Hilton is out again for you. Mac could return this week, and Vinatieri is out for Ross.
Yeah, I see. Matt coming back is fairly irrelevant for me because you wouldn't play him against Tampa anyway.
No.
But yeah, I mean, you look down the board. For me, it's pretty similar to what we've had before. Yeah, it's keeping it going. This is actually, we were talking about earlier on how we play Superflex. This is actually a very, very traditional look. Two running backs, two tight ends, two tight ends and a receiver. So yeah, I'll say it's not too bad.
22 personnel.
Indeed. Look, earlier in the year, Ross absolutely blew me out. And I'm a little bit worried that it can be the same thing again. But here's why I'm feeling pretty good about this: is that yes, he's got a lot of players playing at home. Yes, he's got Michael Thomas playing San Francisco, which is a challenge, albeit he's playing at home. Miles Sanders playing the Giants. It's Monday Night Football. At home again, struggling.
Could be a weird game.
Struggling team.
That feels like a weird game.
It feels like a weird game. Josh Jacobs with his dodgy shoulder against the Tennessee defense, which has been great against the run this year. KC were decent against the run last week.
The Patriots' run game has not been good.
And they're moving away. They say they went to James White last week. Yeah. Sony Michel. That's it. I think the reason why the projection is so high is because he's rated quite highly. With the Denver offense in Houston, if you look at the kicker down there, that's it. Will that fire? Will Matt Ryan come back from being sacked about 15 times, whatever it was? Yeah, that's it. Play Carolina at home, and yes, Carolina are head coachless at the moment, but their defense has still been relatively good against the pass. Against the
run is the weakness of
that's
that
it.
defense.
And then the Ravens against Buffalo. Well, that's it. In
Could be a bit of a trap game.
Yeah, in Buffalo right now, so you wouldn't want to go there. That's it, and they do like to.
They'll throw dildos at you. Buffalo.
They're weird up there. Josh Allen's been playing fantastically well right now.
Yeah.
Obviously offensively they're not that great, the Bills, and you'd like to think that they would be able to score well there, but on the other side, you look at the Steelers playing Arizona, see exactly the same thing. That's it. That's going to be a sack fest. Jack Doyle's the only viable option really for receiving in the red zone for the Colts. He was last week. Waller's been great, albeit playing Tennessee, but then again last week against tight ends.
Raiders at home are a much better team.
Yeah, they weren't good, Tennessee, against the tight ends. Mike Evans has been owing me a performance for a long time, so. Let's hope that's the case. Let's just hope that now that Ron Rivera's gone, they just go, you know what? Let's play McCaffrey in the game. Let's just go McCaffrey.
This is I think I said on the pod a few weeks ago that when there's a coaching change or a new coach comes in, new coordinator, teams tend to be a lot more run heavy.
Yeah.
To begin with, just because it's simple. Now, I know from what I've seen that North Turner was obviously the OC.
Yep.
His son is now going to be effectively the OC for the final 4 games, and North is going to a special assistant to the head coach role. Yep. So there is a change there. So
I'm expecting some good things there. And then Carlos Hyde against Denver, well, that's it. He's so game script dependent. He's the only one guy who I might be able to, I might swap him out.
Not a strong run defense though, Denver. Right,
exactly. I may yet swap him out with Sterling Shepard right now. So, look, we've gone on for a little bit about this game, but the fact is that those two lineups aren't going to change in this week. They're not going to change much next week.
No. Who are you picking?
But I back myself, but I don't like the fact that earlier on this year Ross with protecting the same people absolutely pulled my pants down.
Yeah, Ross is one of those surprising teams where we've seen weeks from him like the last 2 where he doesn't have great weeks, and there are some reasons for that. But it is certainly a team capable of going off. But your team is so solid. I can't look past your team this week. Prescott maybe mildly disappointed. On Thursday night.
I was happy that he came out of that game with 19.
20 points, you'll take that. Look, Matt Ryan could do a bit better, but I think the rest of your roster is on on balance better than Ross's. So I'm going to pick your team to win as well. So we'll go to another one of the playoff games then. Let's go to Ixan versus Tom's Tyrants. Ixan takes on Tom's Tyrants for a chance to take the number 1 seed for themselves. If Chris loses and Phil loses, it's his to get. He's on a 5-game win streak right now, and the projections say it's going to keep rolling. 101 to 91 against the Tom's Tyrants team that was just eliminated from the playoffs, but will be looking to upset a playoff team. The history of this matchup: Ixan all time against Tom's Tyrants are 7-8, so it's quite a split game. Looking down in terms of the injuries, lots of tags there for Ixan. Winston, Henry, and Alvin Cook, all 4 participants. In order of severity, Winston is fine. Henry, I think he had a hamstring or some kind of problem, but he'll be set to go. But Cook did leave last week's game with a shoulder injury. He's saying he'll be out there. We'll see how many snaps he plays. Calvin Ridley limited. Not sure what's up with him, but I think he'll be fine. Colton Sutton limited too. He'll be fine until Gurley. Just a rest day for him. Joe Kittle, 4 participant as well. Not currently in the lineup. On Tom's side, Sam Darnold, 4 participant, he'll be fine, as will Chris Godwin and DJ Chark. Looking at the bench, James Conner has already been ruled out for Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, for Ben, playing Tom's Tyrants is not the game really you want to play if you are trying to clinch the title. But look, if I was him, I wouldn't worry too much about this, because we're talking about rock solid teams. Up to last week, his team was absolutely solid, locking in for 100 points every week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be any different. Winston against Indy is a scary one for me, because they've been pretty good. They've been pretty good.
The secondary has been banged up a bit, hasn't it?
But blitzing, they've been great. That's it. And you've seen against better QBs. I saw the game where they're playing Green Bay earlier in the year. They were fantastic against Aaron Rodgers that day, and they were forced to run a lot. That's it. Winston's volatile, but he's got the receivers not to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could be make or break. What's on the other side? Sam Darnold. We saw him play.
Look, he crapped the bed last week, but that was a weird game.
100%. He plays Miami at home. I think cold weather this time. You got guys coming up from Miami. They're not going to like that. He looked really good two weeks ago. He scored 30 points plus. I like that matchup. Going down the list, Fournette and Carson, you think would be able to match Henry and Cook. Henry's been fantastic right now. If Cook's banged up, then we may not see the sort of production that we've seen recently with him. Albeit he's playing Detroit and their defense sucks.
Yeah, it does.
That's it. Calvin Ridley again. Nice pickup. You know what you're going to get from him. Yep. Sutton's become increasingly crucial to Denver.
Drew Lock helped him certainly, but because he's willing to take chances on Brandon Allen. But
playing in Houston,
it's not ideal.
That's not ideal. Gurley in Seattle against Seattle at home. So I like that too. The Panthers at Atlanta, I don't. On the other side, Packers against Washington. I like that, but the Packers are going to get shredded on the ground. And going up, you got to say to yourself, Jeffrey against the Giants is probably the only one I like. Do I like the Jackson against anyone right now? No. Do I like Godwin? Well, yeah, I do. But then whatever he does, Winston's going to do on the other side. So, I think on the balance you've got to go with Ben. Obviously, so his record speaks for itself.
He's the more settled team, I would say.
But don't be surprised. If the QB again, come next week, is the one thing we start talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And QB has really been the bugaboo for both of these teams this year.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah, for Tom's side, you look at those players, and yes, any one of them could go off, but it also doesn't surprise you if Fournette doesn't do much other than get some yards. Carson could get benched for fumbling. Godwin could just, it could be an Evans game. Chark, we've seen him just disappear at times, and Jeffrey could just get injured. It's a very very unpredictable lineup, I would say, from
Yeah.
top sides. Whereas Ixan, to their credit, is a lot more predictable. Those three running backs, they get the volume. They might not always fire, but they're not going to.
You know what you get, yeah.
So I think we're both going Ixan here by the sounds of it.
I think so.
Yeah. And then our final game with playoff implications then this week is bucking the trend against the Tuckfards. The Tuckfards are looking to hold on to that number. Well, they don't currently hold it, but they have for a long time the number 1 seed, the regular season winner. They're looking to get it back. They need Chris to lose, but a win would pretty much seal it for them as they take on bucking the trend. They are currently predicted to lose, however, 89-83. Phil has already had the kicker play. Brett Maher only got 6 points on Thursday night. Looking down the lineups, Mahomes is full participant, as is Ingram. They'll play. Landry full, he'll play. Deebo Samuel full, he'll play. So no injury things to worry about in the starting lineup, but you go to the bench and my word, you're lucky if there isn't an injury tag. For Phil, every single player has a full participant tag, so they will play. But for bucking the trend, AJ Green out, Mohamed Sanu questionable, he should play. I'm feeling doubtful, I don't think he'll play. Neither will Daniel Jones, he's got a high ankle sprain, so a different QB for bucking the trend this week. History of this matchup, who won the first between these two? It was the Tuckfards. Chris, take it away.
Phil's got some awful matchups here this week in key positions. Can I just say?
He sure does.
I mean, you look at that. Big Pat playing New England away, awful. Ingram playing Buffalo away, awful. Barkley playing Philadelphia in Philadelphia, could go either way. Landry playing Cincinnati, not bad. Deebo Samuel playing New Orleans, awful. Keenan Allen playing in Jacksonville.
He'll be tied up with AJ Boo, yeah.
Middling to awful. That's it. I would say Mar in Chicago, windy and awful, and
the Pat Stevens, KC.
It's it, which it was. That's it. And Pat Stevens and KC, not great. So you look down there. I'd be instantly, if I was him, I'd be playing Baker Mayfield versus Cincinnati absolutely all day long in this game. That's it. The reason why is that you look at that playing. If you're Pat Mahomes playing in New England this time of the year and you haven't been 100% fit.
Yeah, Patriots team has been much different at home as well.
Absolutely. Nobody likes going there for good reason because it's cold and it's hot. That's it. But you look on the other side, like Kirk Cousins has got his best matchup of the year. He's playing at the right time. He's playing Detroit, fantastic. Gordon against Jacksonville. That's it. With their run D, shredded. Kamara against San Francisco, not unbelievably good, but Kamara hasn't been unbelievably good either this year. But he's going to get plenty of volume. Parker against the Jets,
it's quite nice.
That's it. Love it. Love that. That's it. Albeit, that's it. But then, Fitzpatrick's used to playing cold weather as well.
And the Miami did really well against the Jets.
Yes. Metcalf in LA. That's it. Russell Wilson's going to be throwing bombs. Pascal against Tampa, they've got literally no one else.
I think he's the top. Yeah, he's the top receiver right now, and we all know Tampa can't stop receivers.
Absolutely, it's between him and Jack Doyle. And you look at the Saints against San Francisco, and the Saints team's been great, and they like to rush the passer.
49ers offense as well. They've not been overly reliable.
Jimmy G gets sacked a lot. Yeah. Jimmy G gets sacked a lot, and when he gets
sacked, and turns over the ball.
Yes, and then as a result does that. So there's a lot to like about Mike's team. There's a lot to like about Phil's team on paper, but unfortunately the big names haven't got great performances.
And we know from Phil's team that usually it's only a few players. When this team has a good week, it's a few players having really good weeks, and then the others chipping in. I don't see the players he needs to get the great points this week doing that.
No. And
I can't see any of the supporting cast stepping up either.
I think Saquon Barkley's the key here. I really do.
Eagles' run defense is really good though.
That's it.
It's not a good matchup either.
No.
And he's not been the same with that high ankle sprain.
You're not wrong, but if there's one guy's going to do it, maybe it's Landry. Maybe it's him. But I think the usual suspects, the Mahomes, at the moment, Deebo Samuel seems to be scoring 12 points a game.
Yeah.
And Ingram. That's it. I wouldn't expect a lot out of either of those.
Who are you picking? I'm going back in the trend.
Well, let's buck the trend then.
We get to this time of the year, and that's when we don't trust Phil's team. He is the Peyton Manning of the LOC.
This is true.
This is what we know.
Phil's record speaks for itself. His recent form hasn't been great. He's only scored 79 points last week against me. If he scores 79 points again this week against Mike, he's probably going to lose.
Yeah, there you So we'll just mop up the remaining games quickly then, because they do not have any relevance to anything. So we have Gridiron Gang against Bare Necessities in the Stubbs Bowl 2 of this year, and a divisional game. Looking at the history of the game, all-time Gridiron Gang, I am 6-12 against my dad. Brady comes in for one final start of the year, but Breeze does have the 49ers at home, so that's not great either. Edelman's questionable, but he'll play against KC. And a few injuries. Austin Hooper limited, but he should return this week. Damian Williams has been ruled out. Brady and Freeman should play for their teams too. Chris, real quick.
That's it. I think Dave's probably got it, just because he's got, again, Watson's nice, Chubb's nice, Robinson's already got 16 points. Yeah. Viking against Detroit's nice. Kelsey's not so nice, but if he's going to score, he's the one to be thrown to. They're going to be thrown to touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Your team, on the other hand, much better recently. Obviously, you sort of have Hopkins, which seeks to level out a little bit. Watson, Freeman in a good matchup. Lindsay in a good matchup. Snell's in a good matchup.
I basically have the team of Michael Fabiano starts it this week.
That
is essentially my entire team.
DJ Moore's potentially got a very good matchup there. It's earlier in the year. Texans D's got a good matchup. Brady against KC, you'd think, playing at home.
Other than that Dallas game where the weather was just atrocious, Brady's been about 20 points or better at home, I think, every game. So.
Lockett doesn't look the same. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if you won the game. I think Dave's been, more resurgent recently. I like, and already having 16 points makes a big difference in tight games. So
absolutely.
Let's go with Dave.
Yeah, annoyingly, I had Alan Robinson on the bench of my Reapers League team. If you see the team, you would understand why I have him on the bench playing against Dallas. He had a good game, 40 yards but 2 touchdowns.
That's it. That's what counts in fantasy, right?
Yeah, it sure does. And then we've got the Dream Team against Pakistan again. This is jostling for division position, but these teams will be going, I'm pretty sure, to the consolation brackets anyway, so it won't matter too much. But the Dream Team currently projected to win it 102-87. They do currently hold a 21 to 11 point lead. Elliott got 2 touchdowns en route to those 21 points. Michael Gallup got 110 yards for Viv. History of this matchup: the Dream Team are 5-1 all time against Pakistan, so a team Pat struggles against. Bell's questionable, but he'll play. Adams and Hill will both play as well. Jordan Howard limited. He's not played in a while. I would expect him to probably not play this game. Greg Olson's already been ruled out for Viv, and Frank Gore didn't practice, but that's just a rest day for the old man. Yeah,
I think Viv's going to be cooking on gas here. Carson Wentz is banging form right now. Josh Allen's playing Baltimore, simple as that. Everyone else down there for Pat has been spotty at best. Even his big playmakers. Look at Tyreek Hill. They're playing New England. Don't like that. Devontae's playing Washington.
They've shut him down in the last 2 games.
That's it. Whilst you got a 21 point lead with Elliott already. Mixon against Cleveland will serve to be. Again,
the Bengals team is a bit better than they were now that they've got Dalton back.
It's a safety blanket for him, that's it. And they've been using him a lot more, and they've been successful using him more. I think Stephon Diggs there really is the key playing Detroit. I think he's in for a good day. Kenyon Drake's the surefire number 1 in Arizona right now.
Playing tough D. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't surprise me to see. Has he got? Maybe Ronald Jones come in?
No. I don't see that this week. Ronald Jones was one of those flash in the pan couple of weeks. The Colts D's either going to be the best player or the worst player this week. Obviously Zach Ertz is extremely dependent on how his QB does, and his QB has to be at the top of the sheet. So
who are you picking?
I'm picking Dream Team. They're already ahead, and they're going to stay there.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Dream Team at this point in time, Pat's done a great job of roster renovation, but you're right. This week does look spotty at best. Meanwhile, Viv's team has shown a propensity to score some good points this year, and they're already on their way to doing it.
These teams are very similar. I think I looked at it last week. They scored almost exactly the same amount of points across the year. So,
and then our final game of the regular season, it's the Ollie Bowl for the second time. Both these teams coming in on losing streaks. Ollie Bedell on 1 and Gardner on 3. Projections currently have this one going to the Gardner, 87 to 85. He's got 6.6 in the bag. from David Montgomery on Thursday night. History of this matchup, Bedetne's all-time up here, 2-3 against Ollie Gardner. Injuries, Will Fuller is questionable, but he should play. Mike Williams will participate, he'll play. Julio Jones should make a return from his shoulder injury that knocked him out on Thanksgiving. Jamal Williams limited on the bench, but he'll play. Odell Beckham limited, he'll play. Evan Ingram should make a return this week as well from his foot injury. He's limited, but should play. Marquise Brown questionable. I think he'll play as well.
Yeah, but it was saying that you can't really drop Lamar Jackson. Well, this week, if you've got Aaron Rodgers on the bench playing Washington, you probably should. At
home to San Fran was one thing. Away to Buffalo is a different kettle of fish.
Very different. Yeah. Very different this time of the year. It's not a nice place to be playing any sort of sports. But look, Robbie Anderson against Miami served to do well.
Has been he's been a bit better of late, but he's one of those guys that could just disappear.
Yeah, that's it. He's been or bust. This whole team's been or bust. Aaron Jones, plenty of red zone there should be, but if you've got Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns against that, Washington defense, then you might as well play him if he's there. Will Fuller against Denver
has the better matchup because Chris Harris will likely be tied up with Nuke, and that second corner spot's been a problem for Denver all year long.
Plenty of space, and that's why he can exploit. Same with Mike Williams against Jacksonville. We talked earlier on about Keenan Allen. He's going to be followed around by Boye, and Mike Williams is that guy who just extends the field. Tyler Boyd against Cleveland. Dalton's back, number 1 receiver. Should at least see some volume. The Browns are playing Cincinnati, but that doesn't mean a thing now. The QB roulette's
Young Wei Koo is in the starting lineup.
And
love week 14.
Young Wei Koo, see. Well, he's been there for a little bit, but so at least he's kicking in a dome, I suppose.
Yeah, that didn't help him on Thanksgiving, but
there
maybe he ate too much time.
Maybe. Also on the other side, Russell Wilson. In much the same sort of way as Ollie. These two teams have been defined by their QBs. This is no different. Playing in Los Angeles earlier in the year, they both played each other. Russell Wilson was great. Why is it going to be any different now? It's not.
Yeah, I think his last 3 to 5 games against the Rams have been insane.
So I think they're if you're going to combat that, you've got to combat him with your best QB on the other side. And I'm going to go again and say I'm going to play Aaron Rodgers there.
It's funny considering Bennett has drafted him in round 3 and has maybe only started him once or twice all season long.
That's it. No one want to take the trade bait though.
No,
shame.
It's just as well he did because arguably a lot of games he's been a big bust compared to where he was drafted. So.
Well, in comparison to his running backs as well, where he's they've excelled. We look at Julio. Julio is Julio playing Carolina, who are a bit away with it at the moment. I think that should be good. Same as Cooper Kupp in the same game at the top. He's been a stud for most of the year. Golladay in Minnesota again. It all depends on whose QB is. Last week it seems to be okay. David Blau.
That's his name. That name again. It's David Blau.
It's David Blau. So
he after that start as well, he really we were obviously watching it, but after he started well, he did not play well the rest of that game.
No.
So against a better defense in Minnesota.
Very much so, and away
at Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Singletary against the Baltimore deal, albeit at home, still not so good.
No.
Look, it's all. I think really this is about your QB plus one more. And on both, I think it's your QB, whoever it might be for Ollie Burdett and Aaron Jones, and on the other side it's your QB plus either Julio or Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm. This is a tough one to pick, I think, because there's good and bad things on both sides of the ball. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think that you're gonna have to go for Ollie Burdett.
I think Ollie Burdett is on the basis that Montgomery's only got 6.6 on the Thursday. We've seen Goff have some absolute meltdown games that could really hold Kupp back. David Blau was throwing to Golladay. Singletary's playing a really tough ball.
And you never know with Will Fuller and Mike Williams. They could go for nothing. They could go for 30.
Exactly. Same with Robbie Anderson. Chuck him into that. But I think on balance, Burdett is probably.
Let's probably go with that.
Chance. So Ollie Burdett to win the Ollie Bowl in week 14, and the next time we speak to you, it will be playoff time.
Oh my word.
The chips will really be on the table. And and we'll be talking about award nominations and all
so I mean, congratulations to the 4 that they've got there, because I'm apart from me, but particularly Ross. Can I just say that rising to the top this year with that team, you cannot argue with the fact that that is by far and away his best year so far.
Yeah, absolutely, great job by him this year, and first playoff appearance since the first year of the league.
That's it. So it's once every 10 years. It's like
it's
a
like
long time.
the Haley's Comet.
Yeah.
Ross's team is the Haley's Comet. That's it for another episode of the LSU Report. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with you at some point next week. And for one final time that I can say this to all of you, best of luck in your fantasy matchups this weekend, unless you're playing me, of course. Goodbye.